You can maintain. Hariom, you can maintain 2 minutes silence. Eyes closed. Body relaxed. Slow, deep breaths. Helps the mind to quieten. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamaya Namami Chinmayam Deva Sadguru Brahma Vedvaram Sadguru Brahma Vedvaram. Om Parthaya Pratibodhidam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Yasena Gratitam Puranam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshini Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayani Amba Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavati Bhavatveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavai Vedai Sangha Padakramo Panishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam Navidut Sura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswati Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So we have just started the 17th chapter. And so far in this 16 chapters, we have covered people who are good, what we call as Daivi Sampatti. The most of the Bhagavad Gita from 2nd to 15th chapter focuses on people who are Daivi, who are divine, who are good. And it's covered in 2nd chapter in Sthita Prajna, in 3rd chapter Karma Yoga, in 9th chapter in lot of detail, 12th chapter, 13th chapter, 15th chapter. So all the qualities of good people are covered in the entire Bhagavad Gita. The 16th chapter was devoted mainly to people who are Asuri. The first 3 shlokas of the 16th chapter was again Daivi, but after that, all the 16th chapter deals with people who are not divine, people who are Asuri, who are undivine, who are on the wrong path. And in this world, there are 3 kinds of people. Those who know the scriptures, who know the Shastra, and follow it completely. You can call them the divine people, the Daivi. Those who don't know the scriptures, don't care to know them, and don't care to follow them, and their life is full of negative behavior, wrong understanding, and because they don't follow the scriptures, those are called Asuri. But then there are some in between, which was Arjuna's first question, starting in the 17th chapter. He says, Yashastra vidim utsrijya yajante shraddhayan vitaha tesham nishtatuka Krishna sattva-maho rajastamaha. He says, there is a third group who don't know the scriptures, but have shraddha in these teachings, have faith in these teachings. And how do they develop the faith? Maybe they had heard from their parents or their grandparents, or maybe they had come across some teacher, or they may have read somewhere, but they don't have much faith. So what happens to such people? What is their nishtha? Nishtha means what is the knowledge they abide in? Is it sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic? And as we know, sattvic is the pure, so entire humanity is divided by the Bhagavad Gita into 3 categories, not only the Gita, but all the scriptures into 3 categories. Sattvic are those who follow the path of knowledge, goodness, wisdom, and unselfish. Rajasic are the people who are very active, passionate, driven to success, but could become selfish and sometimes even hurt others. And tamasic are the third category, who are lazy, indolent, sleepy, who don't care. And their main purpose is how much can I get from the world, not what I can give. And they want to live a life of passive. So that is Arjuna's question, that people who have faith in this knowledge but don't really know the scriptures, are they sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic? And Bhagavan Sri Krishna, in his unique style, does not directly answer the question. What he does, he takes this question to extensively analyze what are the 3 characteristics of faith. Person who has sattvic faith. What is faith? We talked about last time, what I strongly believe in, and which is reinforced by knowledge. One is blind faith, and one is shraddha. Shraddha is the Sanskrit word which means faith in the teachings reinforced by knowledge. Like I may have heard about gravity, there is gravity. But then when I jump from the 2nd floor and break my leg, then I say, okay, that's true. I now believe in gravity. So with my own experience and with the teacher's teaching, that knowledge is called Shraddha. So that is what Bhagwan covers the whole topic of Shraddha in this 17th chapter, different kinds of Shraddha and how it applies, how these people behave. And nowhere in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, do this because I'm God. I'm telling you, if you don't do it, you will suffer in hell. Nowhere. There is never any instruction. Bhagwan just gives three choices. He says, Satvik does this, Rajasic does this, Tamasic does this. Good people do this, not so good people do that. And choice is yours. And he also gives the result that if you follow this path, you will get this result. If you follow the path of tamas or laziness or negative, you will get that result. But the choice is yours. And so throughout the Bhagavad Gita, there is no commandments, there is no instructions. Even at the end of the Gita, he says, whatever you desire, you do. All my job is to give you advice. So here we see that Bhagavan beautifully answers this question, but not directly. In his unique style, he uses this as an opportunity to teach us. So beautiful question by Arjuna, we covered last week. Today we'll do shloka number 2, chapter 17, shloka number 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Svabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Cheti Tam Shrunu. Together. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Svabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Cheti Tam Shrunu. So Bhagavan says, Shri Bhagavan Uvaj, he said, Trividha Bhavati Shraddha, of three kinds. Trividha Bhavati means is Shraddha. So Shraddha is of three kinds. And whom does it belong to? Dehinam. Dehinam means the embodied ones. We are all Dehinams because we are living in this body. In this body, it can be male, female, young, old, black, white, but we are all living in this body, so we are called Dehi. So of the Dehis, this Shraddha comes from Swabhava, comes from their intrinsic nature. Swabhava, ja means born out of intrinsic nature. And Satviki, Rajasi, and even Tamasi. So we already talked about the three kinds of nature, Satviki, Rajasi, Tamasi, Cha. Cha at the end means all three. Iti, in this way, Tam Shrunu. O Arjuna, listen. Shrunu, whenever Bhagavan says, that means I'm going to give an important topic. So pay attention. So that's what he's saying. Listen with attention. One is hearing. When you hear something, and that's a typical teenager, he hears through one ear, mother keeps on scolding, father keeps on telling, soon as the other ear is open, it runs out. So here Bhagavan says, don't be a teenager, but listen, Shrunu. So that is what the message of this shloka is. So what is this three kind of Shraddha? And what is Swabhava? What is nature? Nature is something that is very strong factor in my life. And that is how I behave throughout my life. Some of it is from many lifetimes, what we call vasanas, what we call tendencies. So I'm born with certain nature, certain ideas, certain concepts. certain opinions. Like in the same family, you will find same parents. One child is very artistic, another one is good in sports, and the third one is good in science. So some of it is intrinsic, and then our nature transforms as we go through life. What I get from my parents. Our mother is our first teacher, so whatever. And then we'll talk about that later also in this class about whether religion should be imposed or not, because somebody asked Gurudev, so we'll talk about that. So through the life, childhood and all, the child gets teachings from the parents, then he or she goes to school, then from the school teachers, then from the friends, peer pressure, that's very important. And then college, and then he goes in a job, and then their, whatever they learn in their work, and what the company ethic is. So this nature keeps evolving, keeps changing, but it is the intrinsic factor which decides my behavior. So that is called nature. That is my intrinsic belief and my activity. And this is not only my nature, my behavior throughout the life, which we call gati. So this nature determines gati, determines the goal of my life, determines how I reach that goal. And my goal could be pure, sattvic, could be selfish, rajasic, or could be destructive, tamasic. But how do I conduct myself throughout this life? And then what is my goal? And the nature, they say marana kale, even at the time of death, this nature does not die, because this continues, this jiva, this subtle body, this mind and intellect that goes to the next life, takes these tendencies, these vasanas with it, and goes to the next life until it attains enlightenment, until it becomes one with Om, one with the consciousness. This individual continues with these tendencies. And Marana Kale, not only at death, but also in crisis. Suppose I have a crisis situation, then how I behave determines my nature, my character, my swabhava, especially in difficult times. That's what they say, they say a friend in need, what they say, a friend in need should be avoided. No, a friend in need should, but so this reminds me of a story. There was this king who had said that anybody brings any problem to me that me or my court cannot solve will get 100 gold coins. And so people brought all kinds of questions and problems, and everybody in his court was brilliant, his ministers and all. And king himself was very knowledgeable, and nobody could win the 100 gold coins. One day a man comes. He says, tell me which part of India I am from. So he says, yeah, that should be easy. So they start talking to him in Tamil, and he speaks beautiful, fluent Tamil. Then they speak to him in Punjabi, and he speaks Punjabi like a Punjabi. You can't tell. Gujarati, he talks exactly. No, he's perfect in every language. You cannot tell which is his own mother tongue, which is my mother tongue. You have to guess. Bihari, Bengali, everything. He's very good, brilliant. And nobody can guess. And the king says, it's not only the question of 100 gold coins, but will be insulted. Our kingdom will be insulted that we couldn't solve. He said, you know what? He asked the minister, the chief minister, prime. He says, you know what? Give us one night, and tomorrow we'll tell you what it is. So he said, okay. So they put him in the nice royal guest house. He stays there. And outside his room, the minister puts little sharp pins, little needles. And he just, outside his room when he's going to the bathroom, and he's he goes with these, there's no slippers there. There's these flimsy little things. So the minister puts the sharp pins and he comes out and he steps on them. Oh, he gets hurt. And he starts cursing in his mother tongue. Then he can't hide it, right? He says, okay, then he goes and the minister is quietly listening. And when he goes to the court, minister said, that is your mother. So in a crisis situation, our nature comes out. And that is called swabhava. When there is a problem, then what is really your true nature, how you deal with problems, with situations. And then, people say this, religion and these ideas should not be imposed on children. Why do parents have to tell who is God? Is there any God? Why should I grow up to be Hindu? Why can't I become Muslim or Christian? Why is religion being imposed upon us? So somebody asked Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda, this question: why should religion be imposed by the parents? So he said, no need to impose religion, but then no need to teach him his mother tongue either. If he grows up in a Gujarati house, let him speak Punjabi. Why do you want him to learn Gujarati? Let him speak English or French. No need to tell him what kind of food to eat. Whatever is cooked at home, he doesn't like it. He can eat Chinese food. You don't need to teach him what clothes to wear, how to dress, how to speak, what to eat. All these things, if he doesn't want to go to school, let him not go to school. Why do you impose that? Let him grow up ignorant. Let him become some, bum on the street. Why do you tell him study, go to school, go to college? When those things are imposed, they are not considered imposed. They say, oh, no, child has to learn. How can he not learn the mother tongue? How can he not learn how to eat? Yeah, but when you are teaching him all that, then you also have to teach him what is religion, what is God, how to. And, parents come and tell us, oh, my son doesn't want to come to Bal Vihar. He doesn't like. How old is he? He's 8 years old. He doesn't know what is right and what is wrong for him. What is important is we know what is right. And yeah, once he's 18 or 20 or, once he's independent, he can decide. But when they are little, we have to guide them. We have to tell them. So swabhava comes from the parents, and that is also called as samskaras, the right values. So the parents not only have to teach language, how to speak, how to eat, how to dress, but what are our samskaras? What is our culture? What is our Hindu culture? That's what in this Diwali program we saw, how, beautifully the children were, praying, and then how, everything was, and it was covered by the mayor also in her message, and then the city councilman, and we all, that is what we are teaching, and that is what the parents' job is, to teach them at home. And that is why Puja Gurudev started this Chinmaya mission, this Bal Vihar, so that they may give the right values to the children, the right samskaras. And if we teach children, or if we ourselves think, I am just this body, that I am this body. There is no subtle body. There is no life after death. There is no Om, God. There's nothing there. It's just this life. This body alone is real. And our purpose of life is take care of body, enjoy life. I take care of myself, at the most my family, me, myself, and I, at the most my family. And then such a person's life will be selfish. Okay, there is no life after death. There is no heaven. There is no hell. Just eat, drink, enjoy. And when the body is over, life is over. There is nothing. And so if that is the kind of teaching that this person has, then that's how he will live this life. And then this person will not be guided by morals, by religion, by right ideas. So that is the idea, that I am not only this body, but I am this gross body, the subtle body, but I am this consciousness. That is my true nature that we have to guide. And this comes in all our behavior. Puja Guruji, Swami Tejomayananda, once somebody asked him about lighting a lamp. What is the significance of lamp? Lamp means light, means knowledge. That's why we do the arti, offer the light to God, and asking for knowledge. And he said, in our culture, on a birthday, we light a lamp, right? We tell our child, okay, go to the prayer room or go to the temple and do arti, offer, your light. So we light a lamp on birthday. In the Western culture, what do? They blow the lamps, right? They blow the candles. Oh, it's your 15th birthday, 15 candles, we blow it. So he says, better to light a candle on your birthday rather than to. It's a very powerful point. So the idea is that on our special occasions, my goal should be to get more knowledge, to get more wisdom, to get more right understanding of what life is. And that is how I should conduct my life. That is how I should behave. That should guide all my teachings, just as we have GPS and you turn on the GPS and it guides you. And even if you go off, the lady on the GPS will say, I'm redirecting, I'm bringing you back to your path, even if you have taken a wrong turn. So that's why they say in the 16th chapter, Bhagavan Sri Krishna had ended with Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Akarya Vyavasthitau Nyatva Shastra Vidhan Oktam Karma Kartum Arhasi. He says, let the scriptures be your guide, be your GPS as to what I should do, what I should not do. And once having studied the scriptures, either from a guru or from reading or from the parents or from the whoever, then you should live your life according to the scriptures. And if we go out of our life, just as the GPS lady redirects, so we should approach a wise person, approach a guru or a teacher or a swami. My life is not going well. I am not able to progress spiritually. This time Swami Ishwaranandji was here, and he was here for 5 days, and we had a chance to spend time with him and ask him. I also myself had certain questions and certain doubts, and so this is a wonderful opportunity when we meet any of these Mahatmas or Swamijis. It's not only to listen to their lecture, but also ask them questions, what I should do with my life, how should I progress. I'm at a particular place and I want to go higher. So that's why that is how we should conduct our life. And that's what Bhagavan says, that there are 3 kinds of Shraddha: Satviki, Rajasi, and Tamasi. And Tam Shrunu, listen to me, pay attention. So we'll do verse number 3. Sattva Nurupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharata Shraddha Mayoyam Purushaha Yo Yat Shraddha Sa Eva Saha. Together. Sattva Nurupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharata Shraddha Mayoyam Purushaha Yo Yat Shraddhasa Eva Saha. So Bhagavan here uses the word sattva. Now sattva here does not mean the sattva, rajas and tamas. That's why the Sanskrit word, the context is very important. So here when Bhagavan says sattva, he means what is your antakarana, what is your mind, how it thinks, that is That is the Sattvaha. Here is the, what is your Antakarana? What is your mind? And how you behave in the right way. So that is Sattva. Here Sattva means what is your Antakarana? What is your mind? How do you think? And how do you carry this out? Sattva Anurupa, according to your thinking, according to your mind, according to your understanding, the right understanding, Sarvasya, of all people. So it can be people who have right understanding, people who have wrong understanding, but Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati. Everybody's Shraddha is based on their thinking, on their Antakarana, on their mind and intellect, memory. You know, Antakarana has 4 aspects: Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. So mind, intellect, ego, and memory. So based on my past memories, based on my thinking, based on my emotions, and based on who I am and where I am in life. So based on that is the Shraddha of this individual. O Bharata, O Arjuna. One Bharata means one whose mind is always dwelling in knowledge. Bha means knowledge. Rata means always. So Arjuna he praises Arjuna that you're asking good questions. Your mind is always in knowledge. O Arjuna, there is 3 kinds of Shraddha based on their thinking. And Shraddha Maya, just as, we say Chinmaya. Chinmaya means full of light. Tejo Maya, full of brilliance. So Shraddha Maya means each one of us is filled with our Shraddha. Like mango, they say, sugar Maya, like the sweet. It is sugar Maya because it is full of sweet. So Shraddha Maya means we are all full of Shraddha. Ayam Purushaha. Ayam Purushaha means this human being. Purusha does not only mean male, but this human being, every human being is Shraddha Maya. It is full of his Shraddha. And Yaha Yat Shraddha Sa Eva Saha. And as his Shraddha, Sa Eva Saha. That is how this person is. So as his Shraddha, so a person will be. As what is his strongest belief, what is his nature, what is most important for him. See, for some people, power is most important. For some people, wealth is more important. For some people, success, I should be the smartest, or for some people, I should be more emotional and loving. Or some people I should serve. Some people I should take. So what is most important, that is called Shraddha, that is based on their nature, based on their thinking. And that is what I hold on to. I will hold on to that and not let go at any choice. Anything happens, I'll not let go of that. That is called Shraddha, that is called Sattva, that is firm belief. So talking about hold on and not let go. So this was in the 30s and 40s when planes were just been invented, made, and they had these open planes, and these old planes that moved very small distance, maybe few miles, and then they had to refuel. So they were not long distance planes. So there was this fair going on, county fair, and there was this pilot who had this plane, and he said, those days $20 was a lot. So he said, one round of the fairground, I'll take you by air, it's $20. And so people will come pay $20 and take a round circle of that area. So this one man comes with his wife and he says, look, I only have $20. I want you to take me and my wife both. So I cannot, it's $40, it's $20 each. He said, take it or leave it. Otherwise, I don't have more than $20. Now, that was a slow day. He had no customer that day, or he had been sitting for 2-3 hours. He said, chalo, at least 20 is better than zero, nothing. He said, but on one condition, if you or your wife speak a word, even one word, then you have to give me $40 or I'll keep your watch. So he says, okay, you can keep my watch. Either of us will speak. If you speak one word, either you give me 40 or I keep your watch. So he said, okay, we won't talk. My wife and I, we won't talk. So this pilot takes them on the round, but he wants to make them talk, right? He wants to scare them. So he goes up, down, turn, plane upside down, round, and sometimes fast, sometimes slow, immediately, and turn the plane upside down, whole plane around, and not a single sound they make. Finally, he gives up, then as he's landing, the guy is behind, he says, you guys win. You didn't speak a word. I tried my best to scare you. So you won and you are good. And the man says, yeah, it was very, very difficult. It was hard for me to keep quiet when she fell out of the plane. So for him, $20. So, so that is what he was holding on to, right? That was his Shraddha. He said, I'm not going to give 20 se zyada nahi dunga, no matter what happens. So that is called holding on. And this is called impressions. As we said, these are impressions from many lifetimes, from childhood, and whatever ideas I grew up in. In fact, it's very interesting. People will migrate to another country, and even 30, 40 years later, they are living the life of that old country, like in Trinidad. I remember when we visited. Now, of course, Swamiji Prakashanandaji has grown that mission like anything. But initially, when the people came in Trinidad, a lot of them had been living for 2 and 3 generations, and they were still practicing the religion of their forefathers, grandfather, how they used to light the lamp and how. So they had kept their impressions. They had not only kept it, they used to say, my father in India used to light the lamp on, this function or this occasion. This is how he was doing puja. So they will transfer that. It was so interesting to watch that these people, even though they had been living in Trinidad for 2, 3 generations, they had not forgotten their culture, and sometimes it was like they were living in some very back time, how 50, 60 years ago things were. So that is called Shraddha, that is called impression, and sometimes they carry it for many generations and lifetime. And then that determines their buddhi, that determines their thinking, that determines their intellect, that determines how they deal with people and what is right and what is wrong. And so faith is something that is ingrown, inbuilt in us, and that is what we practice. And faith can be in many ways. So to give where I just heard a very beautiful example, say you go to the 7-Eleven and you pick up 10 items, in a little basket, and 10 items, and they are worth, say, $40. Now you have picked up drinks and food and candy and all those things. Now what do? You give him a piece of green paper, right? Just a piece of green, all those things you have picked up, one green paper that says $100 on it. Now the shopkeeper is not going to say, "Arey yaar, kya hai? You bought all those things, you're giving me one little piece of green paper." No, he has faith that this green paper is worth $100. And who is guaranteeing it? The Federal Reserve. The Reserve Bank of US is guaranteeing, and he knows that he can take it to the bank and he will get $100 worth, and then he can write a check to pay for his house or his mortgage or whatever, or he can order more supplies. So the faith comes in that green paper is because it is banked, because of the bank. But there are some countries where the currency is, sometimes they are going through crisis, and $1 used to be, say, 5 of their dollars. And now it has become 100, or it has become 500, or it has become 1000. The currency is collapsed, it has become devalued, and the economy is doing bad. And especially when the economy is bad and things are bad, then that same currency does not have the value. And then you tell another person, why don't you buy, currency of that? No, I don't trust it. I don't have faith, because that currency is not, is not secure. In the US, I know if I put, I will get my money back, but there I might put $100. And after 6 months, $100 might be worth $5. So 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 that is what is Shraddha, that is what is faith, and that is called Sattva. That is what we believe, that is what we know. And then is there a scale? They say, is there a scale? How much Sattvic am I? How much Rajasic? How much Tamasi I am? It is all determined by the scriptures. So let the scriptures and the thinking of the Bhagavad Gita and all the Bible and all the scriptures, let them tell you. Then Bhagavan, in the earlier chapter, he said that in the 14th chapter, that when you live in Sattva, your life will be Sukham. You will have Sukham and you will have Jnanam. So again, Bhagavan had not said you have to live Sattvic. He said, no, if you live Sattvic, your life will be happy and you will have the right knowledge. So what the point is, that he is not directing us, but he's telling us what is the result. What is the result of living in Sattva? What is the result of living in Rajas? What is the result of living in Tamas? And based on that are our actions. So all our actions are based on Sattva, on our thinking, on our knowledge, and on our samskaras that we have got. And that determines the actions, and that determines how I behave. But how do I change myself? How do I come from tamas to rajas? If I have some tamasic qualities, how do I become rajasic? And if I have some rajasic selfish qualities, how I become sattvic? So they say, by not accepting what is, if something is wrong, don't say, that is how I am, I can't change. I have been like that since childhood. There was a very famous biologist, Peter Medawar, very famous European biologist. And he used to tell his students that if you want to learn something, don't accept what always is, just because it is there. No, if something is you don't know correctly, go out and learn it. If something is wrong, change it. Mahatma Gandhi also said, he said, if you accept what is wrong, then that's not appropriate behavior. If there is something wrong, if you say, "Arey yaar, theek hai, chalta hai, it's always been like that, nothing I can do about it, I'm just an ordinary individual." He also was an ordinary individual. He was a lawyer who came from South Africa, but he decided that things are not okay and I have to change it. So when one individual takes the lead, then other people join. And that's what Saint Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmaya, when he came down from the Himalayas, his guru told him, people are not going to change. He said, no, but I have to share this knowledge with the people of India and ultimately throughout the world. This movement spread when one individual, one master, one Mahatma decides to change the world. And it's not, his idea was not to change the world. His idea was to spread this knowledge as widely as I can, and then people will change. So that is called where we don't accept things as they are. Arey yaar, chalta, it has always been like that, nothing I can do about it. No, I have to do what is right. So now the next shloka, Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells us, what is it that we worship decides whether I'm sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. who are the God? We say we all worship the same God, whether you use Krishna or Father in heaven. How can it be sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic? We all worship God. We all believe there is God. We go to church or temple. But let's see what Bhagavan tells about worship. So, shloka number 4. Yajante satvika devan yaksharaksham rajasaha pretan bhutaganaschanye yajante tamasa janaha. Okay, all together. Yajante satvika devan yaksharaksham rajasaha pretan bhutaganaschanye yajante tamasa janaha. So yajante means worship. Yajante here means worship. Yajna means to offer, in the fire. Yajna also means to worship. Yajante sometimes is also used in how they behave. But here, yajante is they worship. So Sattvic people worship Devan. They worship the gods, the divine beings. And how about Rajasic people? They worship Yaksha and Rakshasa. Yakshas and Rakshasa are these demigods, like Kubera, is a Yaksha. Raksha are those Rakshasas, the Devas and the Rakshasas. So Rajasic people worship demigods and Rakshasas. And how about Tamasi? Pretan Bhuta Ganan. So they worship ghosts and goblins. You say they do? Yes, we'll talk about that. Gurudev has explained that very nicely. They worship Preta Bhuta, means the spirits and ghosts and all, ghosts, goblins. Cha Anye, others, these tamasic people, Yajante Tamasa Janaha, tamasic people worship ghosts and goblins. So one way of understanding is that Sattvic person worships God, worships the higher powers, the higher forces, while Gurudev in his commentary says people who are Rajasic, they worship Kubera. Kubera means wealth. So they worship wealth, and Rakshasa is power. So Rajasic person worships wealth and power, while Sattvic person follows. Worships is not only praise, but he follows people who are Sattvic, people who are pure, people who are good, and worship God in heaven. And Rajasic people worship these Rakshasas, and so God of wealth and God of power, they worship. And how about Tamasic? Preta Bhuta. Preta Bhuta means ghosts and goblins. And there are people who actually do all this black magic, worshipping all these black forces, and they can put spell on others. And I don't know if it works or not, but some people believe in that, this Jadu Tona and all, what they call in Hindi. But Gurudev in his commentary says these people associate with gundas, with criminals, the low people, who live there, and that's what they associate with gundas and these criminals, and their whole life is of crime and robbing. So that is called tamasic. Now, also I read somewhere that people say, if I worship God, I'm sattvic. No, not necessarily. For what purpose are you worshiping God? Some people go to God and say, God, I want you. I want you in my life. Please stay with me. Please come with me. And that is sattvic, that I worship God for God's sake, not to get anything out of it. So that is sattvic, that I want God, I want you and you alone. I want nothing else. Rajasic is God, the stock market, God, you can read the Dow Jones. it's not doing well and my money is all down and I am in big trouble. God, please make sure that, tomorrow the stock market goes up 200 points, 500. Or you know, my daughter, I'm looking for a husband, please find a good husband for her. Or my son is not getting a job, so let him get a job. Or, this house I'm trying to build, make sure nobody else. So we are not going to God for God, but using God to get something else. It could be, it's a way. What's wrong with asking? Yeah, it's nothing wrong with asking God, but don't only go to God like an ATM, only when I want, then I go to temple when things are not good. When things are good, they say, which God, what God, where is God? I don't have time for God. I'm too busy. Then suddenly when some crisis comes, then I go crying. Oh, Bhagwan, can you? So that is called Rajasic way of worshipping. And what is Tamasic way? When people worship so that bad things may happen. God, that my boss is giving me too much trouble. Make sure he has an accident. So you are praying for bad things. That's why all these jadoo tonas and people do all those. They poke these needles into, these dolls and then they hope that the other guy gets sick. So you may worship God, but the worship could be sattvic, rajasic, or even tamasic. So that is the worship. And that is determined by what I think is important in my life. See, I'm invited to a party now. Normally I don't like to go, but say this person is invited and it is an anniversary or some child's birthday and he has to go. So he says, okay, he goes, he gives a gift. And by 8, 9 o'clock, he's home. You know why? Because I have to get up in the morning to meditate. Or in San Jose, they keep Saturday morning 6:30 to 7:30 Upanishad class. And Swamiji says, he said, deliberately we keep it early, so only people who are interested will come. Saturday 6:30, kaun uthega? No, then this person will go to bed at 9 o'clock on Friday because he has to wake up early. He's not. But that is sattvic. Rajasic is, are yaar, 10 o'clock people are leaving, 10 o'clock he arrives. Party to ab shuru hui hai. At 10 o'clock at night is when the party starts. And when it ends, we don't know. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Now, he's not going to go 6:30 in the morning for Upanishad class. There is no way. He'll barely fall asleep at 2, 3 o'clock. So that is Rajasic. And Tamasic. And the other Tamasic behavior is, drink and have fun and drugs and all that. So for one person, the Upanishads are important. Other person is fun, party. Another one is just drink and drugs and go out. And even when people move to a new town, you find that behavior can be sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. Like one guy moves to a new town and first thing he asks, where is the temple? Where is the Chinmaya mission? What are the classes, that are conducted here? How can I log in? What is the website? And the Rajasic person will go to a new town. He'll say, how can I get to know the mayor and who are the big shots? Who has all the power? Who has the influence? Who are the rich guys? I should meet them. And so he will try to get invited to the parties or he will join some Rotary club. Now, Rotary club, you can join for service, that I am here to do service. Or some people join Rotary club not for service, but so that they can meet bankers, they can meet industrialists. So that same activity can become sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, depending on your attitude, depending on your purpose. What is my purpose in life? Is my purpose in life to serve? Is my purpose in life to be powerful, or is my purpose in life to be lazy and get as much as I want? That's why in our pledge, we say giving more than what we receive, but many people's policy in life is receiving more than what we give. Keep on taking from society. If somebody comes, ask for a penny, don't give, never give anything. So that is the purpose. And that's why in Bhaj Govindam, Shankaracharya ji says it very beautifully, Balastavat Krida Sakta, Tarunastavat Taruni Sakta, vriddhasthavat chinta sakta parame brahmani kopi na sakta. So he says in childhood, all we want is toys. In youth, we are attached to the opposite sex, that is. And in old age, we are attached to chinta, worry. In old age, we all the time worry, what is my son doing? Why is he not taking care of my grandson? And what is my grandson doing? And we worry, even we might be in India and they are here, we still worry. Chinta, we call, did you eat properly? Or, the child is 52-year-old. You're still worried about usne khana khaya ke nahi khaya. So we just worry constantly. So that is why he says, give up worry. Parame brahmani kopi na sakta. Attach your mind to Bhagwan. If you have extra time, instead of worrying about children, think about Bhagwan Sri Krishna. Oh, his leelas and his, or read Bhagavad Gita instead of worrying about. So parame. So he said, make that your main thinking. Put your mind as much as possible in Bhagwan. That is what in Bhaj Govindam it is said beautifully. And this also determines the environment, like a sattvic, like they say in Kerala. It's been many years since I went, but the water is very clean. The beaches are kept very clean, even the rivers and the lakes and the ponds. People don't throw stuff in there. They respect the water. Water is important, and the streams are crystal clear. That's how it was. I don't know how it is now, but that's what I have heard. But here, if you go to the beaches, the people don't respect the water at all, the environment. They just throw all this cellophane bags and this disposable cups, styrofoam cups, and toilet, this paper and these diapers and all these, and dirt. And if you look in the beaches, it's so dirty. We have polluted our environment, our air, our water, our land. And that is all Rajasic and Tamasic behavior. So Sattvic is where they preserve the environment. They keep the water clear. They try not to pollute. Like we have the trend now to have more solar energy and, reusable and recycle and, composting. So these kind of Sattvic activities should be encouraged, and not too much destruction of the environment, not too much destruction of air, keeping the air pure, keeping the water clean. The land, we should, right now we find that just, I was reading in Brazil, Brazil is like the lungs of the earth. There's so many forests, the Amazon forest, and they're just being destroyed. Yeah, some development is required, but just wholesale destruction of forests is happening. And we are doing that all over the world. We are destroying our forest, and what that will do is pollute our air, pollute our water. Industries, they are just throwing stuff in the river, not even bothering to keep the water clean, keep the land clean. So that is Rajasic behavior, that is Tamasic behavior, polluting the environment. So the kind of environment we live in also can be Sattvic, Rajasic, or Tamasic. So keeping the air clean, keeping the water clean, trying to not throw things, in there, but recycle them. And also not buying too much, because you buy too much, you consume too much, then that many industries are, busy making stuff, and then that much production happens, and then that much, that much waste is generated. So at one time, yeah, they used to say you have to buy to keep the economy going. Now the economy is fine. I have to keep my mind pure. I have to keep, not that you become miserly, but buy what is necessary, buy what you need. And then aside from that, even the petrol, we are consuming so much that in 50 or 100 years, there will be no oil left on the earth. And how are our kids going to the land we are finishing up, cropland, we are So we have to think what is good for our children and our grandchildren and for the whole of humanity. So that is sattvic. So that's what he says, based on our culture, based on our nature, that is our goal, those are our gods. So whether you are worshipping sattvic, rajasic or tamasic, and that is based on our nature, our thinking. So beautifully, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is answering Arjuna's question, and he will continue further talking about different kinds of diet, different kinds of behavior, all that. So a lot more is there in this 17th chapter. So we have about 5 or 7 minutes. So by 12:10, we would like to go into the main hall for Aarti. So we have time if anybody has any questions in the audience here or on Zoom. There are quite a few people I see on Zoom. So please feel free to add or ask any questions. Yeah, Carrie, go ahead.
I noticed that there was a notice on one of the in the app that there's going to be a program at the Cancer Center. I think the Rodale Institute.
Yes, yes.
They do a lot of work about soil. The soil
Yes.
being a problem at organic foods. I just
Yes.
thought.
Yeah, that should be a good program. I think November 10, I think. It's on there,
So,
yeah. So that
yeah,
is,
the 6th or the 10th, or maybe it's at 6 o'clock. I don't know.
6
Anyway,
o'clock.
yeah.
That's a good. It should be a good program about how to preserve the soil and how to grow, how to do more organic farming, and how to regenerate the soil.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, I appreciate that being put up. Yeah.
Right. I think Nana is doing it. They are doing it at CBCC. It will be in their dining area, in that lounge area. So, yeah, thank you for pointing it out. Yeah, please make a note of that. Lata, you have any question or comment?
I had a question. What comes first, the nature or the Shraddha?
That's a very good question. I think they feed upon each other. What happens is that you are born with certain nature, and then you behave according to that, and then that strengthens your Shraddha. And then if you behave in a particular way, see what happens is there is vasana, that is ignorance. Ignorance leads to karma, leads to jnanam. Jnanam leads to karma. Karma leads to more vasanas. So say I have a particular vasana for something. It could be good or bad. Then I have that knowledge. I get knowledge how to carry out this. And then I do the action. So then I get firm with the knowledge. I get Shraddha, I faith in that. And then I do the action. It could be good or bad. And then that action strengthens my nature. So through the nature, I get the thoughts. Through the thoughts, I get actions because I have faith in that. And then the action further strengthens the Shraddha, the nature.
So where am I changing the link where I want to go more towards sattvic?
Yeah, I think first of all, the tendencies we already have, but instead of becoming a slave to them, remember what we said, I should have a desire to change, not to adjust. So that thinking has to be, so as a man thinks, so is his behavior. So I have to change my thinking that this is not okay. This is not how I want to live my life. I don't want to live my life like everybody else. I want to live my life spiritually evolved. So even though I may have some good tendencies, I strengthen them. If I have some negative tendencies that take me away, I should develop the willpower with the faith that I have got from the scripture. So it has to change at the level of thinking and awareness that I have this wrong habit, like I have the habit of sleeping a lot. but I want to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning to meditate. So I have to have the desire to change, and then I have to carry out that desire. So it has to change at the level of thinking, and then action, and then automatically that vasana, which is negative, will get weakened, and the positive vasana will get strengthened.
Okay.
But
Very
the
good.
most important is to change your antakarana, your thinking. And that only happens through right knowledge. That's why studying the Bhagavad Gita, Puja Gurudev's commentary, and listening to all these Swamis and Mahatmas that come. Even whatever I prepare is from, writings by other scholars. I just compile them. I saw my gratitude to all these teachers who have taught. So that is how we change our thinking.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I want to say the same thing that you answered. In the Sloka 3, Gurudev has really explained this question very well. He says that the faith and nature is intimately wedded to each other.
Right.
And also he says in the second paragraph that Gita declares that it is the nature in an individual that rules the faith, although the faith can be broken and remolded, like you mentioned. And as it sometimes at the irresistible compulsion of painful experiences, the nature of one does faithfully obey the new Shraddha. And also, so that's, I just wanted to say that they are interrelated, but the nature is the primary that we start, and then faith, according to the second paragraph in the sloka number 3.
Thank you.
And also the Gurudev said the faith is to believe what you don't see. And the reward of which is you see what you believed.
Exactly.
And he says faith is the only refreshment on the spiritual paths. So that's the only will propel us to go further and further. If we don't have faith, it's it's just as important as the Shastra, and it is universal. As he also says, gives the knowledge and prompts all the actions. And I would also, maybe if everybody has time, should read the introduction on this chapter. Gives the faith in details, like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th paragraphs. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, in the green books, it is there. So please, that's why everybody should have a commentary, Puja Gurudev. So you can read either before or after the class, and that strengthens your. So any other questions, comments, anything else? Okay, we'll close and see you next week. Next week, we will be meeting in the main hall because we have parent-teacher meeting. So I will do the Bhagavad Gita in the main hall. First, we'll welcome the parents because Bal Vihar has just started briefly, but it will be on Zoom. It will be on the same Zoom link. And we'll cover the Bhagavad Gita shlokas, but we'll hopefully have a bigger audience, and it will be slightly different format, where we'll welcome the parents and the children, and then it will be a parent-teacher meeting, and then the parents, the last 10 minutes or so, will go 10, 15 minutes, go into the students' classroom, and that time we can have those who are left on Zoom or those who are don't have children can do their discussion, and we can do our question answer at that time. So that's how it will be. So, and if you have any kids or grandkids, please grandkids, tell your children that they will have parent-teacher meeting next Sunday. So you can have your children come attend the Bhagavad Gita. We'll welcome them and tell them about Bal Vihar, and then do a couple of Bhagavad Gita shlokas, and then they will go into the children's classroom. So we'll do the closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namah. Hari Om. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining and for all your comments. See you next Sunday. Hari Om.
Thank you, Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.